Good evening, all. Good evening, all. Good evening. Let me find a way to see the comments. Just let me know that you're online. Greet, say hello. I would love to see who's online. I would love to engage with you all. So let me know when you are online. I want to know who is with me. I want to know that I'm live. So I can't wait for this conversation, actually. It's a conversation that is, really close to my heart. It's funny, it's heart and skill. Because skill can only take you so far, but the one who actually has heart can go further. In fact, if you have heart, you will develop the necessary skills to be impactful. And that's what we're all about. Let me introduce myself. I'm going to introduce myself every time I speak because, of course, I don't know who I'm speaking to. I can be speaking to anyone across the world. So I want to make sure that I introduce myself. So I am Genevieve. I'm a pharmacist. I've been a pharmacist for 10 years officially this year. Of course, if I'm looking at my career in healthcare, my career in pharmacy, I actually started when I was 16. So I've been in this industry for a long, long time. I've seen how it's developed over the years. I've seen how pharmacy has grown, how innovation has stepped in and taken it to another level. I am very passionate about innovation. I'm passionate about tech in health. I am passionate about seeing the next generation of healthcare leaders rise. I am passionate about leadership. I'm passionate about being a leader. I'm passionate about raising leaders, whether you are a new starter in healthcare, whether you're a student, or whether you've been in healthcare for years and years and years. You have the ability to lead. I want to get people outside of the mindset of just being a 9 to 5er. I want to get people into the mindset of being leaders because I sincerely believe that everybody has the ability to impact another life. Naturally, as a healthcare professional, most of us anyway, who went into healthcare to help people. We had a passion to help people, but what can we do to take that to the next level? Hi, Rachel. Hello. I'm now seeing the comments pop up. Hello, good evening to you. Hello to Elaine. I'm seeing you as well. Can I get a shout out? Of course you can. Here's your shout out. Hello, good evening, Rachel. Thank you all for joining. I'm always so grateful when people join my lives. It's really inspiring. Your mum works for the NHS. Awesome. Amazing. I love that. What exactly does she do, Rachel? What does she do? um, what does she work as? So most of us who went into healthcare actually went into healthcare to help people, right? And so that's why I'm so passionate about the topic of leadership, and that's why I picked today's topic about heart and skill. Oh, she's a psychologist. Oh my gosh, awesome! I love psychologists. One of my really, really good friend has literally, well, she's coming to the end of her PhD at the moment. So I'm really excited for her because she's finally going to be able to, be a fully qualified psychologist. So I'm really excited about. Oh, hello. Okay. That's my friend Chibs. He's going to be speaking to you all today. And he's the perfect person, by the way, to speak on the topic of heart and skill because he is what we call the heart man. But I will allow him to formally introduce himself when it's his time to speak. But the reason why I brought up this topic is because most of us have skill, right? Most of us who are in the healthcare space. For example, if you're a nurse, you're a doctor, you're a psychologist, just like your mum Elaine, sorry, just like your mum Rachel. Um, if you are a pharmacist like myself, if you are a cardiac physiologist, if you are all different careers in healthcare, you most likely went to university, went to school, did a course that helped you to qualify to do your job, to do your role. But so therefore you develop the necessary skills, right? You have the right skills to do your job. I'm a prescriber. I went back to uni to do my prescribing course. I have the skill to prescribe. I do it on a day-to-day basis. But what will actually make me somebody who can have genuine impact for my industry is actually my heart. Because guess what? Anybody can go to uni, anybody can pick up the skill, anybody can. But what actually makes me a leader in my space? What actually makes me someone who actually wants to make a difference, who wants to be a solution provider, who wants to be a decision maker in my industry, who wants to see the lives of many people change, is that I have the heart to do that. Heart actually makes you develop skills. So again, there are certain things that I could never do before, but I pushed myself or I put myself in a place to learn because I had heart. I'll tell you another little story about me. I'm an ADHD prescriber, right? That's one of my specialties. Um, and obviously, um, I had a friend who I saw had ADHD and it was really affecting her life. It was really impacting her life. I could just see the struggles day to day. And a lot of people sort of laugh at her symptoms, they would laugh about it. Um, you know, she's very whimsical and, you know, um, she's just her basically. And I was moved by that. I wanted to find out more about it. I wanted to help other people cope with their symptoms. I wanted to know more. So guess what I did? I went and I developed skill. I went and I put myself in a course to go and learn that thing because I wanted to understand that clinical area. I wanted to help. And guess what? The more I worked in that clinical area, the more my heart grew for that clinical area and the people there, that I just want to make impact and change in that clinical area. So because I started off with heart, I was able to develop the necessary skills to now impact lives. Thank you, Rachel. I really appreciate that. So you can imagine that you don't always have to know something today, but you have to have enough heart. And guess what? Heart will also give you the courage to step into places that you've never stepped into before. And I think that Eben from a few weeks back was saying that she dared to put herself in a career position that she would have never thought that she could achieve um, because of heart. She wanted to do better. In fact, I had a conversation with her yesterday, and she was just telling me that she went through a particular situation, and she was just telling me that I just want to help lives. I just want to change lives. I just want to have impact. I just want people um to feel blessed because I exist. That's hard. And so guess what? With that heart, she will be able to develop all the necessary skills that she needs to impact lives. I hope I'm making sense. So as healthcare professionals, sometimes what happens is that we get into the rat race of life, we get into the rat race of our 9 to 5s. And I can't even call it a 9 to 5 because some of us are doing like 8 to 8. A lot of healthcare professionals, right? You're doing those shifts, you're overwhelmed, you're stressed, there's probably staff shortages and staff cuts, and you don't even know um, when you're going to get out of that place. And then you become frustrated with your job. And a lot of healthcare professionals begin to lose heart. They begin to lose heart. And because they lose heart, they're no longer driven to be as impactful as they could be. They are no longer willing to develop more skills to better themselves to have more impact. So I'm just here to basically speak life back into us as healthcare professionals, that remember who you were when you started. Remember the drive that you had when you started. Remember the love that you had for your role, your job, the fact that you wanted to help people, the fact that you wanted to make change, because that will give you the right drive, the right confidence, the right boldness to build up the necessary skills to be impactful. I never knew that I could be a leader. I never thought that I could even be speaking here today on a platform like this. This is absolutely nerve wracking for me, speaking on such a public forum. I'm used to speaking, but not on this, not on such a public forum. But what gives me the boldness and the audacity to speak on a platform like this is because I have heart. I want to be the person that healthcare professionals can look at and be inspired by, to then spark a confidence in them to go out and help more people. I want to be the person that inspires a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old, a 14-year-old to be a healthcare professional, but not just to look at the salary, not just to look at the prestige of a healthcare career, not just to look at it as just a job, but to actually look at a healthcare career as a way to be impactful and change lives. So with that, I'm going to invite my really good friend Chibs on to speak to you all, because I think he has an amazing story. I think he's the right person to speak about this. As I mentioned, he is the heart man, and he's going to tell you his story, and he's going to also contribute to the conversation about heart and skill. So over to you, Chibs. If you can come on, awesome, excellent.
Good evening, all. Good evening. Actually, be on this platform speaking with like-minded healthcare professionals. I'm sure we can all say that our day was long, but we've,
Yeah.
of course, achieved um, achieved something which is necessary, and it's good. We're also giving back to our respective communities. So I don't want to give us a round of applause because I don't want to take us back to lockdown days. We
Lockdown.
used to clap
Let's
for
be
ourselves
clapping.
at 8 p.m. Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I didn't join you guys. I was at home, earplugs in, because I was like, you know what? I know that I know that there's more to this than just the claps that I'm receiving. But also exactly what Genevieve said. She introduced me and a little bit about what I do. But to go into what I do, for those that don't know, I'm a chief cardiac physiologist. Everyone always is confused about what a cardiac physiologist is. Everyone always
Yeah, you
thinks
got to tell us,
it's a
sir.
physiotherapist, but no worries at all. So, a cardiac physiologist, essentially, what we do, what I do on a day-to-day basis, is running diagnostic tests on people to see if they have a chance of having coronary artery disease, which we all do, in actual fact. So, the most basic thing I do on a day-to-day basis is an ECG. So stickers on the chest looking at the electrical activity of the heart, all the way up until an echocardiogram, whereby we use cardiac ultrasound and look at the pumping action and the valves and the movement of blood across the valves. But my main bread and butter over the past couple of years has been working within a cardiac catheterization lab. So that's whereby I
Mm.
work as part of a multidisciplinary team. And what we do is essentially we open up coronary arteries that are blocked. So we see patients, I see patients that are having a heart attack, and we do what's necessary. We save lives. Really rewarding. Hey, Lane. Good evening. Good evening. Um, so what actually brought me to the industry? So I've been actually a cardiac physiologist for about 10 years. Overall 13, because I actually started studying in 2013 and graduated in 2016. Um, but why cardiac physiology? Why cardiology in general? I was always interested in learning about anatomy, the structure of the heart, why the heart what actually contributes to the mechanism of the heart, the fact that certain levels of potassium or different things can actually cause beat well or not beat so well. So the intricate details and looking at that function of the heart really interested me. My story and I actually got into that was literally a bit interesting. I completely failed all my A levels at the time. And I think for me, that was the first time that if we actually look at today's title, heart versus skill, that's the first time I think, and I always say this, that I was pushed to the wall and was able to actually exhibit heart. Of course, Genevieve called me the heart man. And that's it's a slogan that I go under because of course, on the tin, it's the industry that I work in. But I think I went through during my A levels, it actually taught me how to actually to have heart, actually face a situation and be pushed to the brink of your own capacity. And now, um, of course, Cath Lab by day, but I also run a platform called Cardio Diagnostics. So I say Cath Lab by day, Diagnostics by night. And
What's
what
Cath
really
Lab?
interested me about the Cath Lab,
Okay.
good evening, hope you're well. So the cath lab is a coin on words that we actually abbreviate the catheterization lab. It's a bit long, so we call it the cath lab. So what I do with cardio ed diagnostics is initially it was an instruction from my mentor at the time, and he was like, you know what, you've been in this industry for X amount of years, 10, 11, 12 years. Surely by now you can be a consultant. And for me, I was always pondering on that instruction. I thought to myself, what does a consultant look like? Does that mean I have to go back to school and become a doctor and so on and so forth? In actual fact, yes and no. But for this conversation, I'll say no, not necessarily go back to school. I certainly will follow you. If you, I don't know if you have a QR code. If you join the group chat, what I will do is I'll follow you from there. Absolutely. But what I actually sat down with myself and I said, you know what? I've been a cardiac physiologist for 10 plus years. I can actually teach this thing. I can actually show people and save people a little bit of time and save them the mistake. So it's an education form, but it also what it is, what we've actually begun to discover now as the team, as the cardio diagnostics team, is that it's more than education. It's actually lifestyle. It's actually the saving of lives.
Yeah.
You guys will probably be familiar with a football player. I don't know if you, well, the World Cup is coming soon, but you'll be familiar with a
Who are you
football player
supporting, by the
called
way?
Christian Eriksen. Nigeria's not. No, I'm joking. Certainly not. Chris.
Who's your money on? England, England. Fair enough.
You'd have known about a football player called Christian Eriksen. Now, he actually suffered a cardiac arrest. This was years ago.
Mm,
And a
yeah.
cardiac arrest is whereby the heart actually stops pumping blood. And you lose consciousness essentially. So that's what happened years ago. And he had a device implanted, which if he goes into a dangerous, fast rhythm, is able to
Mm.
shock him out of the rhythm. So I don't know if you guys have watched Holby City or not The Bill, but Holby City, Grey's
Casualty.
Anatomy. So casual, but if you have a dangerous
Mm.
ICD, intra,
Mm.
implantable Icarus this week. Um, he's lucky. Was it your favorite? I trust
It
you.
was
I
mine,
trust you,
to be
blessing.
honest. I
So
was actually hooked.
really, neighbors
Yeah.
was mine to be fair, but I can't
How?
become an Australian, can I?
Neighbors.
Um, I used to watch it with my mum.
Oh my God, neighbors. I can't believe
Yeah, good eye, mate. But
it.
yeah. So I digress. Um, So in actual fact, he's lucky. The fact that his device was able to fire and he was actually able to kick him out of that dangerous rhythm.
Mm.
However, there's a proportion of the population that don't have a defibrillator and don't know that they actually have underlying heart issues. They're going into the sporting spaces, they're competing at a high level or an intermediate level. And they're suffering from these moments whereby they have a cardiac arrest and they collapse of hospital. And the scary statistic is that
Mm.
actually 9 out of 10 people actually will die, unfortunately.
Oh
Rick was my
wow.
guy, whoever Dr. Rick is. Yeah, so I was gonna say Dr. Rick. So 9 out of 10. So the statistic is
Wow.
actually realized the creation of CardioEd was to actually not only educate people, but to also provide these services whereby we can actually save a life.
Mm.
Essentially, we look back across the years, a player like another football player, Fabrice Muamba, who used to play for Arsenal, Tottenham, and Fulham at the time,
Mm.
had an out of hospital cardiac arrest. Luckily,
Mm.
because there was a consultant cardiologist at the stadium at the time, he was able to survive. Even a bit, well, I won't say closer to home, but you'd know him, LeBron James' son, Bronny James,
Mm.
cardiac
Mm.
arrest. So
Mm.
these are all key, and they're becoming more in our face, and they're being brought more to the limelight and more to the
Mm.
forefront. So I'm actually understanding that our job, healthcare professionals, um, when we think of the title heart versus skill, I actually understand that we can't actually juxtapose both. I think a lot
Mm.
of the times we can't juxtapose. They both marry together. So you
Exactly.
can
Yeah.
have the skill, we can have the know-how, whereby when we're at work and we provide the services that we provide and we do a job, but in actual
Mm.
fact, it actually is a lifestyle. So that's why I believe whereby the skill becomes a 24/7, 365 a day thing, whereby
Mm.
heart and skill, when it marries together, what you then
Mm.
become what you then begin to create is something like a guild, something that you're even
Mm.
building yourself, Genevieve, or even something like a cardio diagnostics, which complements, and
Mm.
it's very much
Mm.
in tandem with the guild. So
Yeah.
that's what I've actually begun to understand a little bit more as I press in, as I reach 10 plus years within the industry. It's not necessarily clocking in at 9 and clocking out
Mm.
at 5. In actual
Mm. Yeah.
outside of work, there's a reason
Mm.
why you're in healthcare. And I think the more that you begin to marry the two together
Mm.
and skill, you begin to actually find your way within the industry to begin to actually navigate your way and actually understand there's more to do
Mm.
of the 9 to 5. There's more to actually provide.
Mm.
Um, but I can actually successfully say last year um, at CardioEd, we actually provided 5 online workshops whereby we were teaching people ECG interpretation and analysis, whereby we had,
Mm.
I say, over 100,000 views online. Um, we actually have a group chat going on with the Guild community, whereby people actually have the opportunity to actually learn a little bit more about ECG interpretation and analysis. Because in
Mm.
actual fact, ECGs are essentially the bread and butter. They're actually, we call it in healthcare primary care diagnostics. These are one of the first tests that people actually have if they um, come into hospital or they present through A&E. So it's actually, in actual fact, it's an important thing. And what we're doing as well as do a diagnosis, we're doing something called PPS, um, pre-participation screening. This is something before anybody competes. What we're doing is that we're mitigating and we're actually reducing the likelihood of someone competing and having a hard event. A hard event is even a cardiac arrest and so on and so forth, because of the fact that we are actually doing the tests and we're seeing if they actually have any underlying heart issues. So I'm loving this conversation myself. I'm loving the platform, but it's an encouragement to everyone that's online, and if people can listen back as well. It's just understanding that the work doesn't end. Um, it
Yeah.
continues. It's a lifestyle. You shouldn't just see it
Yeah.
as I'm here to pick up my salary at the end of the month and clock out. Because if you actually deep it, if you actually think about it, um, you see it like that, you only get paid 12 times a year. But in actual fact, what we're called to do is that we're actually called to change lives and change communities thinking,
Mm.
thought process, and own initial um our initial mind being changed. So yeah, 12 times a year is crazy. I think when I actually realized that, I said I have to
It's
make a
actually when
change.
you think about
Word
it
to
like
Michael
that,
Jackson.
yeah.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah. I'm starting with the man in the mirror, certainly. Yeah, sorry, I watched the Michael Jackson movie recently, so I'm really in this. I'm in my Michael Jackson era. Just kidding.
You got your
But no, honestly,
yeah, Jackson fever.
honestly, out of 365 days in a year, you get paid 12 times.
Mm.
It's the biggest scam. Is yeah.
Biggest scam.
So if you actually do the maths,
Biggest
365
scam.
minus 12, we're looking at 353. So 353, the remaining 353 days in the year, I'm supposed to just be folding my hands
What are you
and
doing?
just looking left
What are you doing?
and right. Impossible. So that's where I actually understand a little bit more that this is why we create communities, to press in a little bit more and actually understand that we're
Yeah.
actually here to change the minds of our communities. And based on
Yeah.
that, the byproduct of that is that we'll press into something a little bit more. We will discover based on us marrying the heart and skills together. So honestly, it's been a
Yeah.
phenomenal time actually sharing a little bit about. You have to honestly sit back and deep. Honestly, you have to. Once you
Mm.
kick back, I actually think, is this it? I even remember, you know what? I'll even go into this. I remember like when I first started working. I remember I started working in North London. This was a hospital that wasn't too far away from home, and um, I remember I'd go to work, finish work, and it was very monotonous. It was very monotonous for the first month or so. I'd take the bus. Um, so how it was, the hospital that I actually worked at, it was where I lived at the first stop of the bus, and where I'd get off was the last stop of the bus. And there was no there was no fight, there was nothing else aside from hopping on the bus, taking the bus
Just
from the
going to
first stop
work.
to the last stop, going to work, coming back. And I remember I was doing that for the first month. And if you guys have actually worked before, well, for me, my first month, I was just like, I was so tired. By the time I got back, it was just eating and going to sleep. But I actually realized
Straight to
within that
bed.
first month, I said,
Yeah.
this can never be life. It can never be life. Because it's like,
Mm.
okay, cool. So will I work and just die here? Is this life for the next 40 years? I think that conversation was already brewing in December 2016. In the sense that
Mm.
it can't be it. It just can't be it that I'm
Mm. Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
the interesting time. It's a really
Yeah,
interesting conversation.
I like that
I think you
point.
should,
Heart basically got you out of
yeah,
your
yeah,
comfort zone.
yeah. You,
Basically, heart got you thinking outside of what
absolutely,
you know. I love that.
absolutely,
I love that.
absolutely. I think it was, there was, there was that underlying thing where there's more to this though. You know, like those times where you're just in bed, it's 2 a.m., 3 a.m., you're just looking up at the ceiling and you're thinking, there's more to life than this, surely.
Mm,
Surely,
mm.
there's more to life than this. There's more to life than just simply hopping on the bus, going to work, working your 9 to 5, having your 1 hour break. Even some places are very wicked and they'll only give you half an hour and they're watching, you know.
Half an hour,
There was
trust
one,
me.
there was one Aunt Gladys that I used to work with that would look
Oh my
kids,
gosh.
he's a minute late. So I'm just
One
like,
minute.
there's surely there's more to life than this. And
Yeah.
I think when you get
You want to
to
make sure that
that,
you're bringing
when you get to that
value.
stage, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. When you get to that stage of
If you're going to go
frustration, I
through that
think that's
nine
where
to
the
five.
heart comes in. Yeah, yeah. That's where it
Yeah.
comes into play. And
Think,
that's where it's like, okay, it's time to actually
yeah.
shake yourself up a little bit more and put to action this heart. You know, I don't think you can actually teach a heart. I think you need to go through a lot of flogging. Life needs to flog you really well. Yeah, Aunt Gladys was a serious
Before,
one. She had a serious wig.
yeah.
Yeah.
You have to
But
really
honestly,
go
life
through
needs to
before you
really,
realize there's more to
yeah,
life.
yeah, yeah. So I
Literally.
think life really needs to flog you. But I think it needed to flog me. However, I think why we're on a platform like for it not to you've told your story before, Genevieve.
Mm.
You've told us that it was just Boots. Boots. Five, you and
That's
Boots
what
were
I had
five
in
and
my
six. That's what
mind. I was going to be a
you had
manager.
assumed. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking, a question to you, Chibs.
Yeah.
I think we're dead.
Mm,
A question to you, actually, is because you said that your
yeah.
mentor kind of posed a challenge to you. So, what was it about what
Yeah.
he said triggered the heart? Because you were just doing what you knew what to do. I guess you were just using your skills. You were going to work. You're doing your 9 to 5. Why were
Mm,
those words impactful to you? Was it something that you were going through in the moment? Is that the moment that you thought, is this all that life can look
mm,
like? Because I'm trying to get somebody who's watching, I'm trying to get a healthcare professional that has been doing 9 to 5 or doing an 8 to 8 or has just been working for so many years and wants to change, actually wants to be a leader, actually wants to have
mm,
impact. What was that? How was that moment for you? What was about that moment that now made you want to create a platform that is helping so many people
mm,
today? What was in that moment that now made you say, okay, I have the skill, but how can I actually apply the skill and use the skill to
mm.
help others outside
I think
of course, your 9 to 5?
I think what was powerful about my mentor was the fact that he got into my mind and he got into my psyche. And
Mm,
I think the words,
mhm,
but for a lack of, I think I'd say for a lack of courage, a lack of conversation, I've always felt like I
mm,
could do, but I've never done
mm,
because that word was never spoken to. It's very interesting. You know, I think
mm.
these these promptings, they've always been underlying. I'd like to say for all of us, but
Mm, mm,
Um, was really the challenge of the mind to actually, okay, yes, that word has been spoken to you and the challenge has been given to you, but can you then action this word? So I remember I started off and I started off as you do, you're umming and ahhing, but will people actually listen to me? Will people do? But I think I had resolved within my heart, my mind that, you know what,
mm,
I'm gonna exercise this. I think I put some respect on myself based on what I heard. And I said, you know what, you've been doing this for 10 years, 10 plus years. This is the challenge. But not necessarily for your uplifting, but for the uplifting of other people as well. Because in the same
mm.
sense, you would have,
Yeah,
as in
to
you, as
uplifting
in
others.
myself,
Yeah.
I would have come in, yeah, I would have come into the industry. I came into the industry December 2016, and I was running around in circles for the first 5 or 6 years. But we can successfully say that in 2023, when the challenge was posed to myself to become a consultant, for 3 years on, what we've been doing is that we've been inspiring, we've been consulting. On a regular basis, I have
Mm,
people pop up in my DMs and asking me, how do I do this? How do I do that? We're very much active on
mm,
LinkedIn. We're very much active on across all socials. And what we're doing is we're helping people maneuver. Actually, if I recall one case study, I had a young man. I say young. He's married with 2 kids. I had him pop up and actually ask for um,
mm,
actual classes on ECG interpretation. And by the end of the curriculum, after teaching him, he gave me a review whereby I was able to empower him. He felt confident on his placement that he was about to embark on because he's actually a paramedic student.
mm.
So one
Okay.
of the testimonies to go into a little bit more. So in actual
Mm,
fact, when you get reports like this, even down to some of the work that I do at work as well, I've have a mentor, a mentee rather, that is actually leaving us at work. Sad times, but she actually attributed all of her success and all of her to me, literally. And um, these are times that make me actually feel proud. Proud, not necessarily in what I've done, but proud in actual fact of me actually hearing what my mentor had told me at the time, doing that, and actually being able to impact somebody else's life from where they're going.
mm.
My obedience to that whole word of go out there and be a consultant has actually benefited other people. So we're just gonna continue doing what we've been called to do, which is consult. And
Exactly.
this is what a platform
Yeah. And
this is what a
impact
platform
lives.
like this is. Absolutely. So this is what a
Yeah.
platform like this is doing. It's constantly impacting lives and sharing stories. Um, so I think a word in closing, I'll hand back to yourself, Genevieve. Um, if you're a healthcare professional and you really want to have impact, make sure you're holding hands. DM me, DM us. We can make something truly happen whereby we can actually help people and help yourself. But it
Mhm.
first starts with yourself and changing of your mind and seeing yourself not as a worker, someone that can actually truly impact the industry.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dibs. What a conversation. Absolutely amazing. And I know I was bugging you to come online, but I'm happy that I did because you had so much to say, so much to share. And of course, please do also plug your platform. Please do tell us about Cardio Eds if you can. Where can we find you? I think that's very important.
You can find us on Instagram, on the Cardio Head as well. You can also follow me on LinkedIn if you want to. Under my name, Chibuzo Noima. We can follow the cardio diagnostics page. We're constantly speaking. We're constantly having a conversation on LinkedIn. So you should join the conversation. And let's connect. We can do amazing things. I have a lot of work that I'm going to be doing within the health and wellness sports industry as well. And if you know anyone or yourself, you want to learn a little bit more about to interpret ECGs, or you want an ECG yourself, we're doing some mates rates as well. So don't forget to. I'm not.
That's small plug. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time as well. And
Thank
of
you.
course, you're not going to be a stranger to this platform. This is your platform. Chib is actually one of
Certainly not.
my support systems in the guild. He works with me every single day to build this platform because we genuinely want to see healthcare leaders take this space. Again, I will elaborate and exaggerate that it doesn't matter what stage of healthcare you're at, whether you're a student, whether you're early stage, whether you're a mature healthcare professional, you've been in your industry for years, especially if you're somebody who feels stuck, you know you want to impact lives. I know we help people on a day-to-day basis, but you want to take it a step further. You want to make change. You want to be a solution provider. You want to be a decision maker. This is the place to have the conversation. This is where we're trying to expand and open our minds and shut down limitations that might come our way. So I've really enjoyed this conversation. I'm really happy that we had this conversation again. Like Jib said, we are on Instagram, Guild Society. Please do follow us, send us a DM. I'm always ready to respond. Of course, we also have our web, community.co.uk. So please hit us up and join the movement, like Chib said. So have an amazing evening. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you to all those who joined online. We don't take it for granted. We really appreciate you. And we'll see you again next week. Thank you. Thanks.